All right, so I wanted to give you a little update. In the last 6 months, sold my Mazda, which I'll do another video about, but I, in turn, have purchased a 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and I just wanted to give you a little 6-month ownership update of what it's been like to have this TRD Pro 4Runner, and give you some driving impressions. Okay, so starting off, in my own 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, I've had some people wonder, why did you buy a TRD Pro 4Runner? And I'll tell you. So I loved my Mazda 3. I had a 2021 Mazda 3 Turbo hatchback, like the Premium Plus or the top trim with the red leather and the nice stereo, all the cool stuff, the cameras, and it was a great car. I really enjoyed it. I'll do a separate video about my final impressions about that car, but I kind of just wanted something, I wanted something that was a little more adventurous, and I wanted to be able to go off-road and just go explore more of our mountainous region that we have here in Utah, just on the benches of east of Salt Lake and just north of there where I live. I had picked up the 4Runner. I decided on let me give you some reasons on why I decided on the 4Runners, specifically the TRD Pro. So last I think it was like July or so, I actually had this, well, not this exact 4Runner, but set up exactly like this as a press car. And if you don't know, I do not all, but I do like most of the reviews for KSL.com, KSL Cars, and I also contribute on the Everyday Driver blog. And so I get press cars as in the rotation from time to time. And last July I had a 4Runner just like this one in the Lime Rush paint and in TRD Pro trim. And I'll just tell you, I fell in love with it. Of all the cars I drove, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. I know people will kind of make fun of me for that, or, you know, just be quick to call out how old the 4Runner is, and it is. Don't misunderstand. I'm fully aware of what this car is, but it's exactly the things that people kind of hate on it for that it's exactly those things for like why I love it. It is old school. I mean, the engine is ancient. It's pretty inefficient, which I'll talk about. I mean, it's been around forever. This thing's basically been here since 2009. I mean, 2014, a little bit of an update, but like, you know, it's a dinosaur, but it works. And so anyway, going back to like why I sold the Mazda was awesome. Like, I think as a daily driver goes, it's one of the best options you can get. It's all-wheel drive, turbocharged, tons of torque. It almost feels like a diesel, and the fuel economy is pretty good. I averaged to about 29 miles to the gallon, which was, I think, pretty solid, and I really had no complaints. Well, I mean, I guess if I wouldn't have got rid of it, right? But like I had two minor ones, but I don't think they're deal breakers for anybody. At the end of the day, with the Mazda 3 turbo hatchback, I swear, and this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I swear the suspension got more stiff as time went on. And like, I think I used to have a WRX STI, and I think that Mazda suspension got to be more stiff. I don't know if it's the torsion beam in the back or what, but it did get a little more stiff than I was enjoying, especially on some of like the divoted, you know, concrete on my commute home. And so I kind of wanted something a little more plush with its suspension. And I also, like I already mentioned, wanted something obviously that I could go on some adventures with and enjoy the mountains off-road. Like, we have a Kia Telluride, but it's not made for going off-road. I'm not going to take that off-road. It's got 20-inch wheels, and not doing that. So anyway, back to like when I had this in July as a press car, I loved this thing. Like, it was just so simple, so refreshingly simple. Having gone through, I mean, I drove dozens of cars last year and tested so many. And while the technology of all these cars is really cool and advanced and amazing, I guess I am in the camp that, you know, the more I drive these amazing new technologically advanced cars, the more I just kind of want something simple. And so that's what led me really to looking back at the 4Runner. I loved the 4Runner when I had it as a press car, and it was just a ton of fun. I mean, it sounds cool with the TRD exhaust. I know not everybody likes it, but I think it sounds really good. Sounds tough. The 4Runner just feels so athletic, and just like it just wants to tumble and play around, and I just loved its personality. I loved how simple it was. It has just enough modern features and safety features to like make it reasonable, to make it acceptable, I guess. And while it still retains like its kind of old school feel. And I love that. I mean, I'm a child of the late 80s, and so I, of course, love all the stuff from the 90s. That's like what my dreams were made of as a kid, were the 90s cars. And this still feels kind of like that. I mean, we've got an old school V6, we've got analog gauges. It just feels kind of like those older vehicles that I grew up with, that I grew up just adoring, frankly. And so that was really appealing. And I'll be honest too, I love the paint. That was one big thing for me, is the color. This thing just looks so freaking cool. Like, it just looks awesome. It looks hardcore. It looks like it's out ready to play. And I know it's kind of old, like I said, the design, but I think it still looks awesome. I think it's one of the best, most tough, cool looking SUVs on the market, even still. I don't know what Toyota is going to do to really top the current design of the 4Runner with the next generation, but I'll be very interested to see. So going back to one thing that I specifically about the TRD Pro, like, here's the thing about me is I don't claim to be like a mechanical expert with any vehicle, and I'm not really into modifying. I don't have the time to modify it myself. I don't really have the interest in like taking it somewhere and having somebody modify it to like make it really capable and like cool or whatever. And so the TRD Pro is appealing to me because I know some people in the comments will be like, it's a worthless package, it's overpriced. And you know what? Is it overpriced? Yeah, I think it is probably overpriced. But one of the things that really sold it for me when I had that press car, the press 4Runner, was this Fox suspension. Oh man, especially coming from the stiffer suspension on the Mazda. This was so nice. I mean, it's pretty floaty, and it does a phenomenal job of just absorbing those bumps. And yes, I have had this off-road a couple times, and it's been a blast. This thing is, I wanted something that was just capable and comfortable right out of the box, and that's what this is. I don't have to do anything to it. I don't have to change the suspension. I don't have to do anything to make it just where I know I could take it anywhere and it's not going to let me down. And that's exactly what the TRD Pro offers, and I've loved it. Like, I haven't second guessed this purchase once. Sure, it's expensive. This is not a cheap car, and I do think it is overpriced. But that said, I haven't regretted it. I mean, if you're wanting something that's old school, very capable, just out of the box, and honestly, it's really comfortable. Every time I sit in these seats, I love it. I just love sitting in them. I think they're very nice, and the suspension especially I just love it. It's wonderful. So a couple things too that you already know this if you're watching this probably, but like, if you're looking at buying a 4Runner, the number one thing you should probably know, and you already know this, like I said, but it is really inefficient. I mean, it's super snowy. We've had some of the mountains up here has had 50 feet of snow this winter. So no, I haven't had this off-road much during the winter, but during the fall when I had it, I did, and it was so much fun. But so, I mean, for example, like the last few months, I would say like probably more like 70% of my driving's been on the freeway. And even on the freeway, I'm still only averaging like 17 16-ish miles per gallon, which is not great. It's definitely on the more inefficient side of things. And so just be prepared for that. It doesn't take premium or anything, so you'll save some money there, I guess, on regular gas. But yeah, I mean, you're going to be filling up. I usually end up filling up right about every 300 miles. And so, my Mazda coming from something that got 28 or 29 miles to the gallon, you definitely feel it at the pump a little bit. But I don't know. So far, I think the trade-offs have been worth it. So a couple other things that I've really loved about the 4Runner, the TRD Pro, the last 6 months of owning it has been just like how king of the road you feel. I don't know if that's really a thing, but like you're so up high, you're so high, and the seating position, like you can see these windows are huge. I can see the visibility is amazing. I love it. I know, like, people are like, oh, why do people care about sitting up high? And after sitting up high, I can kind of see why. I like it. It's kind of cool. It gives you a cool feeling, especially as you hear that cool, deep, exhaust, the TRD exhaust coming off, and it gives you a cool feeling. You just feel cool driving. It definitely makes me feel cooler than I really am. So another thing that I've loved about it too is just how simple the interior is and how easy to clean it is. I think that with this Softex or Syntex, whatever, I can't remember if it's Softex or Syntex that Toyota uses, the synthetic leather is what it is. Nobody really mentions this, but like, it's not perforated or anything, so it does get kind of hot on the hot days. Like, your back will get kind of sweaty, at least mine does. But it's like crazy easy to clean. This is like probably the easiest interior to clean ever. Like, nobody really mentions the 4Runner as being a good family vehicle, but it is a great family vehicle. Like, if you've got 2 kids, you might be able to fit 3 kids back there in car seats, but 2 especially. I mean, those seats are super easy to clean. They look brand new after even like your kid spills whatever on them. Put the rubber mats down in the bottom too on the floor and just spray them off. This place is super clean, and there's tons of legroom back there, like tons. And again, nobody really mentions this, but like, there's tons of space in the cargo area. It's huge. You can fit anything back there. We've had bikes, and I mean, there's so much. This is, are better driving, more comfortable, luxurious, more feature-rich family cars out there? Yes, but if you want something that can just like be beat on, you can clean easily, that's just going to keep going, and there's going to be plenty of room for the kids and all their gear, this thing is tough to beat. Another thing that I've loved about the 4Runner is just how amazing this thing is in the snow. So, like I mentioned, we've had like so much snow here. It's been one of the best winters we've had for snow in like 20 years, one of the top. And so that said, I actually did buy some Blizzaks for this. And I know people might be like, you could have gotten like some aggressive Duratrax or something, that'd be great. Yeah, I get that, but like, my commute is such that I usually have to be at my work by 6 a.m., if not earlier. And that's sometimes before the roads are plowed. And so when you're getting a foot of snow, lately it's almost been like every week, I had to be ready for whatever. And so, yeah, I got some Blizzaks on here, and holy crap, like, when you put this thing in 4-wheel drive through that snow, it is a tank. It feels super secure, super capable, like, no problem at all. And admittedly, that's how my Mazda felt, that's how my WRX felt. I always put snow tires on my cars, all of them. And they really make the biggest difference, even if you don't have all-wheel drive. Like, they're so worth the money. They've saved my butt several times, and so I'll pay the money for them. But this thing in 4-wheel drive with snow tires, wow! Like, for real, I had it. Our church parking lot. I couldn't help myself. It was unplowed. Had about 18 inches of snow the other day, and so I popped it. Went in there. Actually, just went in 2-wheel drive to start, and just was in there with these Blizzaks, and amazing. Like, even just in 2-wheel drive, put it into 4-wheel drive, like, no hesitation at all. And so, I mean, if you're looking for a snow vehicle, I can't speak to how like the stock tires do in snow, 'cause I don't think they're actually rated for. I don't think they have the snowflake, the winter, the peak rating. But this thing with Blizzaks is one of the best I've ever driven in snow. It's just amazing. So I know I've talked way too long, but hopefully that gives you like a pretty good idea of what the 4Runner's been like to own for six. I know it hasn't been long, 6 months. This has just over 5,000 miles on it, and if you're wondering like what did I pay for it, it's pretty incredible. I talked to Secured Auto Brokers. It was actually one of the owners there, so I bought it from him, and I'm not going to tell you the exact price, but I'll tell you this, it was very close to MSRP. Like, they cut me a great deal. If anybody's looking for a great dealer to work through in Salt Lake, Secured Auto Brokers, I can't recommend them enough. They gave me a fantastic deal. And I mean, I bought it with just a few hundred miles on it, and I got it just barely above MSRP, so I can't complain about that. And especially when these are going, you know, I've seen some people spend almost $70,000 on a TRD Pro 4Runner. Anyway, so there you have it, guys. I love it. This is honestly, I've owned a lot of cars. This is definitely one of my very favorites, and it's just old school. If you're into that sort of thing, snatch one while you can, because they're not going to be around forever. You know, they're saying the new generation's going to be out in the next year, might be the next 2 years, but just grab one while you can. If you're okay with the fuel economy, and you just go into it knowing it's old school, you're going to be super happy. Like, I love driving this every single day. I have not got tired of it at all. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching, subscribing, all of that. Hope this helps you. I'll talk to you later. See ya.